Hey folks, how's it going? Today I am talking about Pets United, a little film here on the old Netflix. It was recently released on the site, and a bunch of folks were like, Saber, please check this out. You've got to see it. And I saw the poster, and I thought, you all want me to see this for bad reasons. You all knew what you were doing to me. Thanks a lot. So I decided to look a bit more into the film. I did watch it, by the way, duh. And here's what the Wikipedia entry said. Quote, Pets United is a German, Chinese, British 2019 English language animated film directed and written by Reinhard Kluse and starring Natalie Dormer, Eddie Marsan, and Jeff Burrell. It serves as a pseudo-sequel to the 2010 film Animals United, which I never saw that one, by the way. I actually had no idea it was even technically a sequel for this film. Go figure. Also, this film premiered in China in November of 2019, and it did not arrive until Netflix, like I said, until September of 2020, so it's a new release on the platform. You can actually see it trending, which really hurts, because once you see the film, you're like, it does not belong on here. And neither does that film either. Okay, so I saw the film. Synopsis, if I can even accomplish this. You have a futuristic city with robots, and you've got a bunch of pets who live in the city. There was a robot uprising, which is being controlled by some guy, and the pets have to get free? Something like that. I don't know. It's not that I wasn't paying attention. It's just that the story itself is so confusing. This movie gave me massive vibes to The Secret Life of Pets. Even the font for the poster, for the movie itself, pays not even homage, just straight up copies it. And I'm like, okay, it's The Secret Life of Pets. It has to be, right? Well, it is. And it's also The Incredibles. It's also WALL-E. It's also robots, like the Blue Sky film. It's a bunch of things. It's a big old pot of let's just dump these sources into there, mix it all up, and wow, none of it works. And ta-da, that's Pets United. It doesn't work. The story is convoluted, so confusing to follow. There are moments where you're like, what's going on? Who's the main character? What's the plot here? What is even happening on the screen? Why are these characters so against one another? There's a part where we meet this cat character who's pedigree, she's fancy, she's the pet of some celebrity, and the celebrity's like, this cat is my life, I love you. And then when the robots attack the city, by the way, robots attack the city, the celebrity's in a taxi and she's like, I forgot something. Oh yeah, the cat. And I'm like, I guess you really don't love your cat that much after all. She's literally plastered around your entire apartment and yet you forgot about her. Okay, doesn't make sense. And again, I said that there's confusing characters. There are 20 characters in this movie. So many characters, way too many. What's the point? What's the purpose they serve? There are these three antagonist characters, a Komodo dragon, a tiger, and a hyena. They have one of the worst songs ever. When you watch this movie, they sing this song twice and you're like, this is worse than Scar during the Lion King remake with his Be Prepared, beat poetry rhymes. That's the equivalent here for this film with the antagonist. When I use the term antagonist lightly, they just kind of show up for a moment and then they disappear. What was the point? The main characters being this dog, a cat, a poodle, a robot, it reminds me of 1-1 from Infinity Train meets Baymax from Big Hero 6. I get Bolt energies, by the way, Bolt from Disney. I get vibes from that in this film, especially with designs. There's so many different influences that were dumped into this film, but then combined into a very just bloated story. There is a Stephen Colbert-looking villain who wants to take over the city with robots. The robots push the people out of the city. We get an environmental lesson out of nowhere about humans encroaching on nature. Okay, where'd that come from? Then the pets then have to make their way through the city to save this robot from being destroyed because the robot has emotions. And Stephen Colbert villain is trying to kill the robot and the pets are trying to protect it. Okay, and then we discover that the Stephen Colbert villain is the owner of this dog who's on the streets, but it's actually not the owner at all. It's a robot clone of the original owner. And then like there's a robot uprising and stuff. It's so hard to explain. I know I sound like I'm doing a bad job explaining the story. Watch the movie yourself and you will understand, like clearly understand why it is so hard to recap this movie. It's like 7 different films combined into one and none of it makes sense. The dialogue is just so unnatural and awkward. The pacing is really bad. There are some what the hell moments that come out of nowhere where like there was a Red Panda character called Slow-Mo and he like, we barely even get to like talk to him and then he dies in the next scene. Like, well, we assume he dies. He shows up at the end, but it's like, does he even exist? He just like, hey, I'm Slow-Mo, and then gets stomped by a robot from The Incredibles, and that's it. There's a weird like ape-like creature in design where it's like, what are you? You look more like a human than a monkey. What's going on? And he also like is on the poster, but he's barely in the film too. Animation isn't bad. I just say it's like definitely a budget cut on a theatrical level. Like I see other films like Peanuts from Blue Sky, or of course Pixar films, or DreamWorks or Warner, whatever. Those are competent enough. They don't look cheap. But here it's like, no, I can see the cutting corner to the budget, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just noticeable. Also, what is with this pig's butt? Like this pig's butt is way too profound. It's disturbing. It bothers me. So yeah, confusing story, way too many characters. I feel like we couldn't even really spend that much time with characters in particular to get to know them. I feel like I was acquainted with like 20 characters and that was it. And nothing else really made sense as far as the story progressing with said 20 characters. And it was hard to follow. Bad pacing, bad dialogue, boring, nothing felt fleshed out, and it was confusing. So that's Pets United. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't. It's not good. Dare say, go check out Secret Life of Pets instead if you want to. Go watch Zootopia or some other Disney film or Pixar, whatever. But like, this film isn't worth it. Like, if you're truly desperate, I guess check it out. But there are much better things out there. So there you go. That's my thoughts. Bye.